Good morning, good afternoon, and also good evening, wherever you may be joining us from. I am José Manuel Fernández de la Bastida, the Director of the Research State Agency of Spain, and on behalf of the agency, it's a pleasure to welcome you to this event. This is a hybrid event with people here in the audience and many people online called Choose Europe, Choose Spain. Thank you for all of you joining. More now than 500 people, registered participants, are attending this event from every corner on the globe. This event focuses on European and national initiatives. Over the next 2 hours, we will have several colleagues that will be presenting a range of schemes designed to attract research talent to Europe and to Spain in particular. Please note that today we will hold the whole meeting entirely in English, and it's being streamed live through our channel Horizonte Europa. Let me share with you some housekeeping rules. For online questions, there will be a Slido system for which we will provide the screen the QR code for you to scan it and use it to pose your questions in each of the sessions. We will open some time for that after each session. And then, as it is an interactive session, we will do our best to address all your questions. However, there may be questions that may remain unanswered, and we will do further work to follow up on all those questions so you can get the answers to all of them. From the perspective of our agency, the Research State Agency of Spain, our goal today is to highlight the portfolio of national funding instruments that we have to support incoming researchers at different career stages. Spain offers a genuine, well-structured in our country. The agency, being one of the main research funding organizations in Spain, has a rich set of instruments which cover all the stages of the researcher's career, from early stage researchers, R1, to senior researchers, R4, which include also a meaningful interaction with industry, as we will describe later. To give you just a brief introduction so you can have a feeling of what is the scale of the Research State Agency of Spain, let me share with you some figures. We manage an annual budget of around 1.2 billion across 20 different funding instruments, and we provide funding for more than 5,000 grants. These grants go well beyond human resources. Though today we will focus on human resources, our grants cover also research projects, capacity building, as well as collaborative goals together with other sources of funding to enhance cooperation among the different actors of the Spanish research system. For those of you that are joining in person, you will receive a brochure of our funding schemes, an information brochure. And for those following this event online, please visit our website where we have all the information with a lot of details and description so you can understand better the different funding schemes that we have at the agency. Just to close, before giving the floor to the next speaker, let me share with you that everything that we do at the agency, at the Spanish research system, serves as a single purpose, that is to keep positioning Spain as a competitive, open, and internationally connected research system. And now I give the floor to Izaskun Lacunza, that she's the director of the Spanish Foundation for Science and Technology. Izaskun.
Thank you, Jose Manuel. Good afternoon, everybody, to the colleagues here in the room and online. The Spanish Foundation for Science and Technology supports access to Horizon Europe to Spanish institutions, researchers affiliated to Spanish institutions, and researchers wanting to establish in our country. In particular, we provide support to excellence-driven programs under Pillar 1. Marie Sklodowska-Curie Action and European Research Council are key initiatives for us, and we understand them as excellent tools to support excellence in research and innovation across Europe and make it attractive for researchers around the world. We in Spain have been making full use of these programs for many years now, with great figures and participation, and our ecosystem is more diverse, more international, and more competitive, thanks, among others, to these programs. Spain attracts every year more than 400 international researchers with these programs, and our aim is to help them throughout the process. We provide specialized advice through our national contact points, and you will meet some of them today, and I know firsthand about their commitment, their profound knowledge about the programs, and also the experience on both of them, European Research Council and Marie Sklodowska-Curie Actions. We have put in place a portfolio of services for both individual and institutions so that you are aware of the new opportunities and also you get ready to prepare successful applications. In that regard, we organize seminars as this one, we organize proposal review days, and mock interviews for those of you who get to the second stage in the evaluation of European Research Council. Mobile researchers know well that getting the grant is not the end of the road. On the contrary, a whole new journey starts for themselves and also their families. A new life in a new country is no joke and begins, and the more support we can provide to these researchers, the better. Precisely because of that, in the Spanish Foundation for Science and Technology, we are also super committed with this task and coordinate EURAXESS Spain, a key support network for international researchers with dedicated offices all over the country. EURAXESS Spain provides guidance on professional and personal matters to facilitate the integration of these researchers into the Spanish research and development system, but also in the country as a whole. My colleagues will explain how it works and how you can take advantage of this amazing network. This is all. We will be super glad to support you throughout this journey, and you can count on the Spanish Foundation for Science and Technology for you to get settled in the country. Thank you so much.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Terry, my name is Cecilia Cabello Valdez. I work in the European Commission in DG Research and Innovation, and I'm going to be very brief. I just wanted to give some welcome words to this event. Europe and Spain in particular are striving to become a global hub for attracting talent. Improving attractiveness and sustainability in research has been an area where Spain has made major progress over the years and over the decades. I work in the European Semester and Country Intelligence Unit, and as you received in the last European Semester report for 2025, we recognize from the European Commission that Spain has an excellent science base. We also recognize that Spain has, in absolute terms, invested the most amount of funds in the past Recovery and Resilience Plan, and we congratulate Spain for all their efforts in this area. We all know also that geopolitical changes have opened the window for opportunities, and Europe and Spain must act. So science excellence and attracting talent is one of the most important initiatives, I think, that we believe is the foundation for research, for good research and for good innovation. Also, this is part of the whole initiative of trying to reach the 3% target. As we know, the R&D investments in Europe are low compared to its competitors, but we have to make those additional efforts. Also, in the European Commission, we recognize that Spain is one of the only countries besides Finland that has a target for public expenditure in its law for science, technology, and innovation. So we welcome Spain for its initiatives. We recognize its scientific excellence, and we would like you to continue working along these lines, and together we can achieve these goals of attracting talent and making Europe better, to choose Europe and to choose Spain. Thank you.
Yes. Hello to everything. To everyone. This is Gonzalo Arevalo. I work for the Research State Agency, and it is my role in this meeting to manage the first session that we will have on EU funding opportunities. So welcome to you to this session where we will hear about the Choose Europe initiative first in its general scope and approach, and later we will go in depth in particular either with the Maria Slobodska-Curie scheme to this purpose, including the novelties for the 2027 call, and finally going through the new ERC grant scheme, in particular the one that it's called ERC Plus program. I think that we have to put the Mentimeter code, yes, because as was commented by my boss, by the director, okay, of the Research State Agency of Spain, we are going to ask you to pose the questions, and not only to those that are online, but also for those of you that are here through the system. And Julio, that is backwards in the room, he will manage in order to gather them and to, after the three interventions of each session, pose them, okay? So we can try to answer. So then, and I don't want to waste time because the important messages are the ones that are going to follow after this presentation. I would like to introduce Slaven Mislajnevic. He's team leader and policy officer at the European Commission in DG RTD, who will present us the Choose Europe initiatives. Slaven, the floor is yours. You have to share your screen, your presentation.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Gonzalo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, regardless on which time zone you are, and both those that are on site or online. It's a pleasure to be here, part of this very important event. We have heard the term Choose Europe being used a couple of times. You might not have heard it before, you might not be familiar with it, and this is going to be very much the scope of my relatively short presentation. I'll share my screen, and then we will go through a couple of slides. Now, as mentioned during the introduction by my colleague Cecilia at the European Commission, part of European Commission that is responsible for research and innovation, we have now for many years been working on making research careers in Europe more attractive and sustainable. And the aim is relatively simple. We want to see more young people choose a career in research, and those that do choose a career in research should be able to build sustainable and successful long-term careers here in Europe. And this is not only a matter of scientific excellence, but it's also crucial for our startups and scale-ups that can only grow when they have the access to the right talents. Now, if you look at a couple of numbers, the number of researchers in Europe is growing quite well. This is relatively good news. The number of full-time equivalent researchers in the EU increased by more than 47% over the past 10 years. It went up from 1.5 million to 2.2 million. So in other words, over a 10-year period, the European labor market gained more than 700,000 full-time researchers. So this is a very strong foundation. And the growth in the number of researchers in the EU has been mostly driven by the fact that more young people are choosing a career in research, but also because an increasing number of researchers is coming to Europe. And you might wonder, why are they coming to Europe? Well, we do think that Europe has a lot to offer. The global competition for talent is clearly intensifying, but we do see that the European Union remains to be one of the most attractive and reliable places now in the world to have a long-term research career. One of Europe's biggest strengths is stability. Horizon Europe, for example, is the world's largest transnational research and innovation program with a budget of more than 93 billion. And for its follow-up, for the next multi-annual framework program, we have made a proposal for 175 billion, almost the double. We also see that Europe has a remarkable concentration of world-class research and technology infrastructures. And just as importantly, the EU protects academic freedom and the freedom of scientific research, so that researchers can continue to be ambitious, can continue to do curiosity-driven work, can challenge established ideas, and can collaborate freely across borders without any type of undue interference, be it political or ideological. And beyond the lab, Europe offers an outstanding quality of life, strong healthcare, education, social protection, and good working conditions. So while the global race is becoming more competitive, Europe's combination of funding, excellence, openness, and the quality of life give it a very strong value proposition. Now, while Europe has strong assets, as I already mentioned, over the past year, we have seen an acceleration in efforts to make Europe an even better place to do research. Since early 2025, global developments and growing uncertainty elsewhere have strengthened Europe's position to be the best place in the world to do science and innovation. And this comes very much at the exact right moment because it aligns with our ongoing efforts to strengthen the research careers, improve Europe's attractiveness, and promote balanced circulation of researchers. And these geopolitical events of last year have eventually led at a quite high speed to the creation of Choose Europe for Science. In the first months of the past year, both the Commission and the Member States recognized the same opportunity and the same steps ahead. In March, ministers from 13 countries signed a joint letter calling for a boom in attractiveness and stressing the importance of a coordinated approach both at the EU and national levels. And shortly thereafter, our Commissioner, Zaharieva, and also our President, Ursula von der Leyen, made it clear that we will want to bring this ambition into practice, that we want to accelerate the progress, that we want to align better our European and national initiatives. And this is also why initiatives such as today, such as Choose Spain, is so important. Now, when it comes to our approach, it is not that complicated, I would say. So first of all, our approach is country agnostic. We want to be an attractive destination for excellent researchers from all over the world. Second, and this was also clear from the start, this is not just an EU-level effort or an effort of a specific member state. This is very much a collaborative performance of both the 27 EU member states and the EU. Now, in terms of what can be done and what could be done, funding is, of course, a very important one. And in May last year, the Commission made the first announcements. It is the moment where the 500 million package was announced. Since then, this dedicated support has increased from 500 million to 900 million that are predominantly being used to strengthen further the existing instruments, be it the MSCA and ERC, and you will receive dedicated presentations on those two very important initiatives briefly after. Now, this is, of course, funding. Funding is very important, but we have also seen there's so much more than funding. Funding can help, for example, tackle the precarity of research careers, but there is much more than that. That's why we are also encouraging reforms of national R&I systems. We are making mobility and integration smoother for researchers and their families. EURAXESS plays a crucial role in that regard, and you'll also receive more information about it today. But you're also looking at how to make it easier for researchers from outside Europe to come here. And this is why we are also looking at how to fast-track visa applications, for example. Now, in order to help researchers around Europe who might not be that familiar with the wealth of opportunities that exist in Europe, we have done two things. First of all, in May last year, we have published this snapshot of EU and national initiatives that support researchers from around the world, or that are open to researchers from around the world. What is very much the richness of this is also it has the overview of the national initiatives, especially the Spanish ones. And this document, while it's a snapshot, is a PDF, we have also decided to keep it updated. And how we are doing this? We are doing this on the EURAXESS platform. So if today you're curious to know what are national and regional or European level funding opportunities that might be open to you, you can visit EURAXESS and you will receive the information there. Now, an important part, of course, is coming up with new funding opportunities and ways how to support mobility that goes beyond just funding, so integration, fast-track visa procedures. It is, of course, also important that what we do in Europe is also heard around the world, and it's also why an event such as this one is so important. That's why, in contrast to the past, we have been communicating more about EU-based opportunities than we have done before. And this has eventually resulted in quite a significant number of researchers showing interest in EU-based opportunities, especially if you look at the ERC and the MSCA. And I do not want to go into much detail there, but basically we are seeing an increase ranging from 50% to 400% from different calls that were opened last year when it comes to the number of applicants from outside Europe. This is, of course, a very strong signal that the demand for opportunities in Europe is increasing. We do see that researchers from around the world are starting to become familiar with the wealth of opportunities. And this is also very much combined with the fact that we're also looking at to strengthening the budget for this type of initiatives in the coming period of 7 years. When it goes to ERC and MSCA, this relates to number of applications, but also if you look at one of the initiatives, EURAXESS, that you also hear a bit more about, we also see that the number of visitors to EURAXESS from outside Europe has more than doubled over the past year. So I think this is something which we are definitely welcoming from the European Commission, as we do very much want to further strengthen this balanced mobility of researchers, not only within the European Union, but also between the European Union and other parts of the world. So this was a bit of introduction to the more detailed presentations you will hear later on. But I very much wanted to strengthen this Team Europe approach when it comes to attracting researchers from around the world. And I hope at least that you will take a look at the snapshot documents and on the EURAXESS page about the availability of regional, national, and European funding opportunities. Thank you very much for your attention, and have a good rest of this meeting.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much, Slaven. I think it was very clear, the key messages that you gave us, and that serves as a perfect introduction to the next items that we are going to have in this session. Now it's my pleasure to give the floor to Daniela Radu and Annelies van de Ven. Daniela Radu is Project Advisor and Co-Coordinator in the Research Executive Agency, and Annelies van de Ven is Policy Officer in the EAC, both at the European Commission. So now, Daniela and Annelies, the floor is yours, and as with Slaven, you can share your screen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gonzalo, and thank you also, Slaven, for making this easier for us by giving us such a great introduction. I will share my screen. If it's not working, someone can shout at me. So as has already been mentioned a few times, we're going to be presenting specifically the MSCA scheme, the new scheme that was set up for Choose Europe for Science. And just as an aside, because the comms officer also reminded me this morning, we're also celebrating the MSCA for a different reason than just because of its involvement in Choose Europe, but we're also celebrating this year 3 decades of the program and it being named after this amazing scientist who also, crossed Europe, Marie Skłodowska-Curie. So without further ado, I think it was already said that Spain has great figures for its participation in MSCA. And late last year, we closed our first pilot call for Choose Europe for Science. It's a very new initiative. And Spain had 9 applications out of the 58 proposals that were submitted, of which 49 were eligible. And that number shouldn't fool you because these are the country of the coordinator. And of course, you have, the wonderful thing about MSCA is that it brings institutions together from across Europe. So behind each of these proposals, there's actually numerous organizations that are acting as associated partners, of which also there's many Spanish organizations that got involved. So we were really actually excited to see so many institutions that were trying to get involved in this very new call and committing to making research careers even more stable, more attractive in Europe. Just to make it clear to any of the individual researchers that are listening to this, this call was for institutions, so it's the institutions that applied, and they're the ones who are going to be offering postdoctoral level fellowships as part of how the MSCA works in its co-funded call and its doctoral network. So it's that kind of system. So it's the institution that has applied, and they will find out very soon which ones have made it to the main list. And then for individual researchers, we're hoping that by the end of the year, the positions that are actually available, there's still grant agreements to be signed, and that those will be available. And the EURAXESS portal is a very important place to find those. So don't look just yet, but by the end of the year, the Choose Europe positions, you'll be able to find them beginning of next year as well. Those will start popping up there. So we promised the 2027 call, which is the next one coming up. Even though it's the 2027 call, it actually opens on the 8th of December this year. So it seems very far away, but time is flying. So we're hoping that there will be renewed interest from many institutions that are wanting to embark on this journey with us, this second phase. And we got a lot of feedback on the first call that we had. So we've really tried to make the second call even more attractive for institutions and for researchers alike. And you'll also see that the budget, the indicative budget that we have has been increased quite a bit from the first pilot, which had a 22.5 million euro indicative budget. And now we've more than doubled that in the budget that we have planned for the next call. And now for those who are asking the question, okay, we now know what Choose Europe is, in a broad sense, making Europe more attractive, building also on Europe's strength, what Slaven already mentioned on this reliability, also the investment that we've made in research and in researchers. So how does MSCA, how does our initiative come into play with that? And what MSCA does, what it's known for is for training researchers and giving them the freedom to do the research that they think is important. And that means that we're completely bottom up. We allow researchers from any discipline. So for Choose Europe as well, if you're an institution and you're thinking of applying and you're in one field or another, you can apply from any field. And Choose Europe specifically is at a postdoctoral level, and there's a vision to employment beyond the project period. So that's what makes it a little bit different than other MSCA programs, other MSCA actions. And that's because while every single action, of course, looks at the research careers of those that are being recruited and tries to make them more employable, ensuring that they have the skills, the experience, but also kind of the research independence. Here, specifically in Choose Europe for Science, we really look at, in the proposal, does the institution offer something in order to really make that long-term perspective, their career more concrete? So in that way, the thing that makes this unique is that we're looking at tackling precarity in research careers, which can be a big damper for researchers who are trying to pick where they want to build their careers, knowing that they'll actually have the resources and the stability to thrive is a really important thing, especially when you're kind of moving out of that early career phase, when you're really at the edge of being a young researcher and trying to establish yourself. So that's where we're working. I've already mentioned this briefly, but who can apply? So it's a single legal entity established in an EU member state or a Horizon Europe associated country. They can recruit and host the researchers. They receive the funding directly, but there is also the possibility, as I said, there's partners that are part of this. So even if you have a certain amount of institutions that are the coordinating institutions, and I think it's a big responsibility, but it's also gives you a lot of visibility. The maybe less visible partners that are also very, very important and that help make these programs successful are also there. And those are split up in the 2027 call into implementing partners, which can also recruit and host the researchers, and associated partners, which are there to assist with training, with secondments, so don't have a recruiting role. And then the researchers themselves, so of course these institutions, the ones that are successful in our call, they will recruit researchers. They will recruit a minimum of 3 researchers. That's a minimum, so they can recruit many more than that, but we also are aware that some institutions, research performing institutions, might be SMEs, they might be small businesses or small research infrastructures. And then we have this minimum that's set that's quite low, but we also know that maybe there might be a consortium of Spanish universities that are applying, and they might actually want to recruit a lot more. Like I said, they have to be PhD holders. They can't already be permanently employed by the beneficiary because that would defeat the purpose. They can be of any nationality, but there is this mobility requirement that's part and parcel of MSCA, that they have to have spent at least, they can't have spent more than 12 months out of the last 36 months employed by or residing in the place where they would be carrying out this project. And then my last slide before I hand over to Daniela, who will give you much more practical information, is the criteria for the call. And people who are familiar with MSCA might already know several of these, but of course we have, like with all Horizon Europe calls, we have excellence, impact, implementation. For excellence, we have the recruitment process, which of course is very important. It has to be open, it has to be transparent, it has to be merit-based. There can be no pre-selection, so that's actually something that we assess when we look at proposals. The appointment conditions need to be excellent. This is actually a co-funded call, which means that we fund a certain proportion of the project, and then the beneficiary and the partners will fund the other part. And that means that in the part that is funded by them, the salary still needs to be competitive at a local level. These concrete long-term career prospects that I talked about, this does not have to be that the institution immediately offers, a permanent contract. We know that in some countries that's not even legally possible, but it's really about showing that you're making sure that there's a pathway available to them, whether that be tenure track, whether that be you developing partnerships, whether that be you preparing them in order to apply for, some kind of open position. These are all different possibilities. So we get this question a lot of, oh, but what do we do if we can't offer them immediately this permanent position? And we say it's okay, because we're really trying to make sure that this call is open to different types of institutions across Europe. And then finally, of course, there's this research, innovation, and academic objective. So the institution has to show that that they will, by recruiting these people, they will actually be contributing to their own excellence, to their own ability to achieve their research goals. The reason academic is also in there is because we know that often for universities, at least, giving long-term positions to a researcher implies teaching. So we tried to integrate that in there as well to really account for all of the different things that a researcher might be doing, whether that be becoming a PI, becoming a lecturer, or a more technical role. These are all possible. Impact, so we have contributing to addressing human resource needs, and that's from a local to a European level. So that's also depending on the scale of the organization, of course, you would adapt that. And the same goes for the strengthening human resource good practices. And there we also align quite strongly with some of the other European initiatives that are out there. The human resources in research awards, things like this. So you can already find some good practices there that you can draw from. And then finally, last but definitely not least, because it's still very important to the success of a project, is of course implementation. So making sure that you have the plans there, making sure that you've assessed your risks, and also that the institution has the capacity to really take this project forward. And again, we are referencing good practices and guidance documents that are out there, including the Agreement on Reforming Research Assessment, which the European Commission also signed, and the European Charter for Researchers, which looks at everything from recruitment to supervision. And the threshold for all criteria is 3, because all of them are very important, like I said, to the success of a project. And then I'll hand over to Daniela.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Gonzalo, for organizing this event. I will take over the other part of the presentation. I hope you can all hear me. It's related to the implementation, so the practical stuff.
We can hear you, but we need to speed up. Okay, thank you. Because we have to stick to the time. Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you, Gonzalo. So quickly, do you see my slides? If I see no reaction, then I will go for. Okay, so how does the co-funding work for this 204 Science program, which is different from the classic co-fund, as you have already noticed?
Sorry, Daniela. We will discount the time, but we cannot see the slides now. I think now we can see them. And if you can put them in presentation mode, it's okay, perfect. No, once you project them, something happens and goes to another screen. Maybe if you can leave it there, I think we can see them well enough, and we will distribute this later. So I think it's better like this. Thank you.
I will leave it like this then. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So the scheme operates in 2 phases. Basically, there is an EU co-funded phase, which lasts 24 or 36 months, and phase fully funded by the beneficiary, which lasts 24 months. The applicants can select whether the EU-funded phase will be the first or the second, and this is a difference to the first 204 Science, the 2025 program. Then I will go to the next slide. Okay. The conditions have changed. Basically, now we are incorporating personal fellowships into a classical fund. So we are giving funding for research for the researcher and also for the institution. They operate pretty much like the personal fellowships, and they are adjusted based on the country correction coefficient. So the applicants will be able to select fellows and pay them according to these amounts mentioned here: living allowance 6,350, mobility allowance 710, family allowance 606, 50 were applied, were applicable, of course, and then for the institution, they can benefit of funding for the research, training, and networking costs, as well as for management and indirect costs. So for Spain, the last numbers I have, and Annelies, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I have 95.6 country correction coefficient for Spain. So basically to these amounts, you will apply the country coefficient for Spain valid. And now I will close my presentation with a comparison between the two programs, Choose Europe for Science 2025 and Choose Europe for Science 2027. So both are mono-beneficiary and will remain mono-beneficiary also in the next call. The difference is that for 2027 call, we will allow the participation of the implementing partners. And here I have to draw your attention on the responsibility of the beneficiaries. So those signing the grant agreement, basically, in case the implementing partners will not be able to comply with the requirements of the grant agreement, then the coordinator, basically the one signing the grant agreement with the Commission, will be responsible also for what happens at the implementing partner level. This is something very important. We will keep emphasizing this throughout our presentations for the next call, for the 2027 call. We will allow, of course, and encourage the participation of associated partners. They will support, but without having the possibility to recruit fellows. So basically, they will have collaborations for secondments, for networking. They will provide also probably research infrastructure, if necessary, depending on the content of the research project. As I already mentioned, the programs will operate still in two phases, but the beneficiary will have the possibility to apply for either the first phase funded or either the first part funded or the second part funded by the EU. Then in terms of budget, there is also an increase. So for from 3.5 million euros for the 2025 call, we currently have granted and approved the 5 million cap, and it's still under consideration because we are trying to increase this limit. Let's see if it goes well. Annelies will have the news maybe later this year, depending on what happens with the discussion with the program committee. So the budget, as you can see, has doubled. Basically, the Choose Europe for Science 2027 will replace the classic co-fund, and who will remain only with the doctoral programs, and this one will offer the postdoctoral fellowships. And with this slide, I will close my presentation, and I remain available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniela. And I have to say that thank you also because of the flexibility that you have given in the RE and in the Commission in order to adapt this scheme that was born with some conditions that make it a little bit more difficult for beneficiaries to apply. And I think that you were able to put them in the right direction. Even in the case of our country, we have good applicants and a significant number of applicants, but with this, I'm sure that more institutions will be more interested in joining. And now, because we are just on time, 3 minutes, we are under the time. We have our final intervention in this part that covers the European Research Council schemes, and in particular, the new ERC Plus program, and it will be Leticia Riaza. She works for the FECIT, for the Spanish Foundation for Science and Technology, and she is one of the NCPs for this program. Thank you, Leticia.
Okay. Hello, everyone, or everything. Thank you, Gonzalo, for your introduction. My name is Leticia Riaza Gambero. I'm one of the 3 national contact points for the ERC that you can find here in Spain. In the next 10 minutes, no more, I give you a quick overview of the ERC program and then I focus on the ERC Plus grant. The idea is to give you enough information to quickly decide whether it's relevant for you, especially if you are abroad. Okay, I have to, it's a kind of disclaimer from me, because I really love being NCP, but I really, really love being ERC national contact point. So I have to say, from my point of view, is the ERC is the Europe's flagship to develop to develop frontier research. If your question is where to develop ambitious scientific project, ERC is the strongest reason for consider Europe and Spain. What makes ERC truly unique is that it supports bold, high-risk idea with the potential to transform the field. This means three things. You will have the freedom to shape your scientist direction. You can build your own team, and you get long-term funding for ideas that could transform your field. ERC has several schemes depending on your career stage and project setup. Here we can see a starting, consolidator, and advanced grant. And recently, the ERC has announced changes in relation with the eligibility window. And now, well, since 2027 calls, we have you can apply to a starting grant from 0 to 10 years after the PhD, and consolidator grant from 5 to 15 years after the PhD. So there is a overlap with these calls. And you have a synergy grant for 2 to 4 principal investigator and proof of concept. It's for existing grant, so you have to be grantee before to apply in order to apply to proof of concept. And now the ERC plus grant, that the new scheme focused on a longer horizon and transformative scientific vision. Okay, now why does ERC Plus exist and what is really for? ERC Plus is not just the biggest ERC grant for individual project. It's designed for projects that go beyond what a regular ERC grant can support, because it needs more time, more depth, or a larger scale to transform the field or open new avenues. There is a novelty in the template. If you compare with the regular grants, there is a section called Statement of Vision. Statement of Vision is a combination of why your idea requires this kind of grant and not the other ones, and what change in your field if this succeeds. Key factors. Up to 7 million per project. The duration of the project is from 4 to 5 years. The funding is 7, sorry. Yes, it's a 7. The funding scheme is a lump sum, so it's easier to manage than the others. Yes, and open to all fields and career stages, of course, even for starting and consolidator grants. But I forget to say something about the evaluation. Sorry, I'm going to be on time. And the evaluation is based only on groundbreaking nature and ambition of the research project, and it's also a novelty from if you take into account the other calls. Applicants are expected to be leaders in their field. When coming back to the key facts. 2 steps of evaluation, and you will have an interview in the second step. And it's highly, highly selective, I have to say, because there will only be 30 grants per year. So it's your idea, I'm talking to researchers, Is your idea truly plus? Does it need this new horizon and scale? This is the real question. So for planning, this call will open in 2nd of June, and the deadline will be on 2nd of September, not this year, and we will have another round, another call in 2027. So my advice as national contact point is do not start by writing. Start checking that your idea fits the requirement that the ERC, of the kind of project that the ERC are looking for. Find a host institution and speak with us, the national contact point, of course. So yes, if you are currently abroad, you can apply to ERC. You don't need to be, the only thing that you need is a host institution based on a European Union member state or associated country, but you don't need to be employed at the submission time. What else? Yes, you are going to hear about during this session that Spain can offer a very supportive research environment. I will add that with ERC as a key element, together, this provide all ingredients you need to succeed. And finally, a practical point. Spain has an ERC superstructure. Gonzalo Arevalo, here in the room, representative in the program committee, three national contact points here in the room too, Julia Marchamalo and Ana Martinez, and a technical support, the nicest person that you can find in the team, and Carmen Esteban, who work in FECI too. What we can do? We can help you we can ensure that your project match the eligibility criteria and help you to understand the submission process and the evaluation process. We can give you feedback around evaluation and criteria and process, and maybe suggest some change and give you opinion about your proposal. We can help you with the second step of the evaluation also, helping you preparing the interview and connect you to national ecosystem and super service that you will find here in Spain. This is our contact or email address and the website that you need to take into account if you are applying for ERC. And that's all from my side. I'm very happy to answer your question.
No? Yes, now. Yes, you can hear me now. So thank you, Leticia. Thank you, Slaven. Thank you, Daniela and Annelise, for the effort of being with us for this session. And Julio, you are the one that are managing the questions that we have gathered through the Mentimeter. Do we have some? Sorry, I'm going to ask if we can put yes, with the Mentimeter, it's very important, but also the team's screen, so we can see the faces of Slaven, Daniela, and yes, now, perfect. Thank you. So, Julio, if you want to come, Julio, or you prefer there because you have your computer there. Then? Yes.
I can do it through here because I have the questions in the computer, so that's okay. So the first one, it's a super technical question that I will take the liberty to answer. It's related to if it's going to be recorded like the webinar, and the answer is yes. Once the live session ends on YouTube, it will be gathered in the YouTube channel of the Horizon Europe Spain. So it will be recorded. And we have one question related, it was asked during Daniela's presentation, and I think she should be the maybe the one to answer it, but feel free to answer the question. We have the question is related to as the interest in EU calls is increasing and the competitiveness of the candidates increase as well. If you can say some brief aspects about how the evaluation strategies are going to be adapted to face the high quality number of proposals. So maybe if we can give the participants some insight during this.
I'm happy that this question is for Daniela.
Yeah, it's a tricky question.
Well, I cannot give you specific statistics on the current call because we are just about to publish them. So I'm not allowed to give you any numbers at this stage. Just to say that we managed to select good quality proposals. They were different from the Classico Fund simply because we aimed at promoting this policy objective to tackle precarity in research careers and also to ask beneficiaries, applicants to focus on building up, let's say, career prospects and training opportunities for fellows so that they have better chances developing and growing in terms of research careers. We have selected, so compared to the Classico Fund, what I can tell you is that we have selected experts, content-oriented. So we had, I would say, we had a good coverage of basically all research areas. Unfortunately, the content of the proposal was not always very specific because we gave also to beneficiaries the opportunity for bottom-up approach. So while at the application phase of these programs, there were no details in terms of research content of the co-funded research projects. I don't know if I make too much sense now. I am sure that at recruitment phase, the applicants will provide many more details and content in terms of what is expected and what they would like to reinforce locally, nationally, or at regional level, let's say, in terms of research areas. So there are differences between what we are evaluating at the Research Executive Agency in terms of content of the research programs and what the beneficiaries are going to evaluate in terms of content of the research projects. So I think I gave you an answer that could cover probably most part of the question.
I think so, and this is, well, I don't know if Slaven or Annelies want to say something. I ask Leticia and Neida. I think it's a very complicated question that all that works in funding agencies we are going to face, okay, because certainly the demand is increasing, and somehow it's good. I'm economist by education, and when the demand is higher, this is good. But certainly we need to adapt and to have some modifications in our procedures, as the ones that were referred by Leticia before, in the case of the submission rules for the ERC, or elements like this in order to adapt. I don't know, Julio, are there any more questions?
The ERC, because the remaining are for the
please.
ERC. Okay. So there is one which is related to, and I think it would be to clarify between the difference between the ERC grants, like the starting consolidator and advance, and the ERC plus, and it's related to the that the applicants are expected to be leaders in their fields, but is that for any ERC grant? I find this hard to comply for a starting grant. So maybe like to say the difference between the leadership between the ERC starting consolidator and advance and the ERC plus, if we can clarify.
I don't know if I can be very helpful for that, because I have the same doubt about, and I think no one's know. This is being recorded, sorry. What we know for now is that you need more than a regular grant because your vision, I don't know, the impact is more transformative than another grant. This is your place is ERC plus. You need from 4 to 7 years, more than 5 years to develop your idea, and you need more funding to develop your project. This is the reason why you need. It's not clear even for us, the national contact points. Today we had a NCP meeting, and all of us have the same doubt about when to apply to ERC plus, apart from 7 million, 7 years. So sorry if I'm not more clear.
If I may, as I am part of the delegation, I think that is the first call, so we are not sure yet what's going to happen. In the next call, we will have more information on this, but the timeframes in which the evaluation are going to be done, it gives us some insights on how this can happen. Okay, I don't know, Julio, are there any more questions? Because we are out of time.
There are some more. There is one super easy question, and is related to the if these initiatives are oriented toward the social sciences and humanities. And I want to say that the ERC it's open for every science and also science and humanities thematics. So there's one domain specifically for each of the ERC calls, which is the social sciences and humanities. So, and there are a little bit more, but maybe we can gather them and will be answered in the event webpage.
Yes, I think we have to do so in order to keep the time schedule that we have. So just thank you, Daniela, Annelise, Slaven, Leticia. I think that you did a great job in this session, and you were able to manage to be on time. This was one of my fears that I had when I was going to moderate this session, and you made my work very easy. So thank you very much. A great applause to all of you, and we have passed to the next session.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Bye-bye.
So it's time to start our second session today in the afternoon in Madrid. The purpose of this session is to present two of the most important Spanish funding schemes managed by the Research State Agency to attract researchers worldwide, as well as the support services that we provide, that the country provides through the EURAXESS network in the context of scientific attraction. But before getting into the schemes that and the information on the EURAXESS network, that the service that is provided through them, let me just share with you some of the features of the support that the Spanish system, in particular through the Research State Agency, provides to develop the research career in Spain. We have a whole set covering the full career ladder of a researcher at the Research State Agency. Our sister funding organization on the health sector has a similar system with a lot of similarities, but focusing on research on health. And let me just share with you what we have at the agency, our agency. First, at the predoctoral stage, our main funding scheme is the so-called Formación de Doctores contracts, or FPI contracts, that these are, we provide funding for PhD training in the academic and the public research system. For those doing the doctorate in a company, in the private sector, we have also a dedicated scheme. It's smaller in size, but it's there and is actually highly demanded. That is called a Doctorados Industriales scheme. At the postdoctoral level, we have first what is called the early stage of the postdoctoral career. And there our scheme called Juan de la Cierva supports researchers that have recently obtained their PhD and want to complete this postdoctoral training in a research center in Spain. Again, here we have a parallel for researchers that they want to go through this career stage in the private sector. That is our program, Torres Quevedo. And then going beyond in the mid-career or the consolidation stage of the career, we have the well-known Ramon y Cajal program that aims to support outstanding researchers in getting the experience and skills needed to reach a stable position in our system. This is a program that has been running already for the last 25 years, but this year is going through a very important reform that will materialize in our first call at the end of the year. One of the purposes of this session is to describe this particular funding scheme, making emphasis in the modifications that we are going to carry out in the next call to try to strengthen the program. And finally, at the senior level, we have a funding scheme that is targeting researchers that are abroad to attract them to Spain. It's called Atrae. That is, we will have the 4th edition of this call this year, and we also will be describing here in detail for all of you. But before starting with these presentations, let me share also a very important fact that all our human resources funding schemes at the agency and also in our sister organizations in Spain are open to researchers of any nationality. Everyone is welcome to carry out their career in Spain in one of the research centers in Spain. We don't have any constraint regarding citizenship or residence to develop this career. So, as I said, in this session we will present 2 of our funding schemes, Ramon y Cajal and Atrae, and then we will start with Ramon y Cajal. This funding scheme will be presented by Joaquín Serrano, he's here with us. He's the Vice Director for Horizontal Programs and Internationalization of the agency. And as I said, he's going to present the main novelties of this program that we will be implementing in the call of 2026 that will be open in the fall of this year. So Joaquín, the floor is yours.
Okay. Buenas tardes. Thank you very much, José Manuel. Thank you for being here. Today I will briefly present the Ramon y Cajal program, focusing on the upcoming 2026 call. Please note that the call is still under preparation. We are just a draft, and some details that we are going to speak are absolutely preliminary, but we will be confirmed during the next weeks. The Ramon y Cajal program is managed by the Research State Agency of Spain, EIA, to support the incorporation of researchers into the Spanish RNI system. The key idea is to attract researchers with an understanding proposal and a strong track record, and to help them build their careers in Spain. A second important goal is to strengthen the internalization of our RNI system. In practice, this means alignment with the European Union Framework Programme, and especially maximizing synergies with the European Research Council, the ERC. So in short, it is a program to bring talent into Spain, to support their research career, and connect their careers with European excellence pathway. Let me summarize who can apply to this new call that we are preparing. First, the program targets researchers with a doctoral degree and with international experience. In practice, the call will target researchers who obtained their PhD within the last 10 years. This is the general rule for the disability, with possible adaptation in specific cases such as recognized disabilities. Second, proposals must be hosted by Spanish institutions, and our Spanish institutions, our classical beneficiaries are universities, public research organizations, and other RNI organizations. So the logic is quite easy. The researcher brings excellence and experience, and a Spanish host institution provides the environment for integration and consolidation. What does the program offer to successful candidates and host institutions? The subvention includes funding for the grantee salary, that is crucial, of course. Then funding for a 5-year RNI project, a direct accreditation of the ERC certificate, aligning with the Spanish science law, and also with the European Framework for Research Careers. A progressive remuneration mechanism linked to submitting ERC proposals, that is also very important, is in our new call. This progressive remuneration could go up to 30% of the initial amount of the salary. And also an additional consolidation support for the host research institution. So it is not only a contract, it is a full package combining employment, research funding, and career recognition, plus extra incentives connected with ERC participation. This slide explains more clearly how the ERC incentives work. If a Ramon y Cajal grant holder submits an ERC proposal and it is funded, there is up to 30% increase in salary co-funding. If this ERC proposal is evaluated with a top score but not funded, then there is a fast track to the European Excellence Call. It's another call of EI, that funding projects, plus up to 10% salary increase. And in the third case, if the proposal reaches a good top score, achieve a top score, but not so good in the first one, not enough to be funded. There are also a fast track to European excellence, and also up to 10% salary increase. The idea is to give some more incentives to the Ramon y Cajal grant holder to participate in the ERC. Let me move to the evaluation approach. The program uses an evaluation process where the interview phase will play a very important role. There are 3 classical core evaluation criteria related with the scientific and technical contribution of the candidate, the quality and novelty of the research project proposals, and the expected impact of the results, scientific impact, economical and social. In the interview phase, 2 key aspects are assessed: the degree of independence and leadership, and the feasibility of the research project. So overall, the program looks for candidates who combine an excellent record with a strong, credible project and a clear capacity to lead independence in research. Here you can see the estimated timeline for this call. Again, is a preliminary information. The call is expected to open in the last quarter of 2026. EI expects to publish the resolution of the call during the third quarter of 2027. After our decision is published, beneficiary entities will have a maximum of 20 working days to formalize and submit the employment contract with the selected candidates. And finally, the effective incorporation of the contract researchers, that is a key point, should have taken no later than the 1st of September of 2028. So the timeline is designed to allow evaluation, selection, and then a clear window for institution to complete contract and start the incorporation process. To summarize this new ERA 2026 call, to point out 4 main elements. We are going in the position to fund a labor contract and a 5-year research project. We are going to support consolidation of the PI within the host institutions, direct recognition of the R3 Research Career Certificate, and incentives linked to the ERC participation. So when again, the program supports people, project, career development, and excellent pathways. In this last slide, just to leave information about where we are going to publish all the details of the call, and also an email contact for questions. And please remember that we are at your disposal for any question you may have. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joaquin, for this very clear explanation about these important novelties of the program. And now we are going to present the other funding scheme that I mentioned at the beginning, is our Atrae program that is focused on attracting people working currently abroad to continue their career in Spain. For that, we have Bárbara Alcocer with us. Thank you, Bárbara, for joining. Bárbara is Deputy Vice Director for Horizontal Programs at the Research State Agency, and she's going to present the next call of the Atrae program. Bárbara, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for your introduction. Today I will present, the presentation is not there. I have to maybe, okay, here we have it. Today I am going to present Atrae 2026 program that is one of the Spanish instruments to attract internationally recognized research talent, and also to reinforce our research system through excellence. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the purpose and rationale behind this program, who is eligible to apply, how proposals are evaluated, and finally, the main dates of this 2026 call that has been recently published. Okay, the Atrae program has a very clear strategic objective, and that is to facilitate the incorporation in Spain of outstanding researchers that have an international experience, who have developed their professional career abroad. However, Atrae program is not limited to the funding of an individual position. but it has been designed as a comprehensive instrument that combines the person, of course, the researcher, and also the project he or she is going to develop, and of course the strengthening of the host institutions in Spain. The program supports three main elements that you have here listed. First, the recruitment of a highly qualified researcher of recognized prestige, of course, who will act as a principal investigator or PI. Second, the development of our research line, led by the PI, a research line that has to be international competitive, of course. And finally, the adequation or maybe renovation of the spaces, laboratories, and equipment, and so on. That is very important for the host institutions, of course, to provide the researchers a quite good enough environment for these researchers to thrive. Okay, let me now briefly explain the eligibility criteria, who can apply. The program aims, as I have said, at experienced researchers with international experience, all right. But they must meet these main two criteria. There are more criteria that can be explored in the wording of the call, but I have highlighted these ones because are the clearest to know the aim of the program, right? They must have obtained, the researchers applying to a Atrae program, they must have obtained their PhD, their first PhD, before the 1st of January 2019. And also they must have been professionally linked to a foreign research center for the last, at least for the last 5 years. Okay, these requirements ensures that Atrae effectively targets researchers with a solid international background, all right. What about the host institutions? Host institutions play a major role in this program because in the end they have to provide a good enough environment for the researchers. They can be universities, both private or public, public research organizations, what we call in Spain OPIs, and again, other possible public research organizations that are not properly OPI in Spain, okay? All right. Now let's turn to the budget issues. The total budget of the Atrae program is 40 million euros. And each action can be funded up to 1 million euros or 1.2 million euros in the case the PI comes from the United States. It's not that the nationality of the researcher is the United States. No. That their career and the background comes from the United States. Okay, the duration of the funded actions is 3 or 4 years, but although the duration is up to 4 years, the commitment and the stability of the action is long-term. Why I say that? Because the host institution must create a permanent position in the same scientific technological field of the PI, right? And must open a call for it during the period of execution of the action, right? So, before the action ends, the host institution must create this permanent position and open a call for it. So, although the duration of the actions is 3 or 4 years, the program provides a long-term stability for both the researcher and the host institution. Okay, the eligible costs, you have them here listed, can be costs for hiring the PI, up to 150 50,000 euros per year, and also the costs of execution of the project. This includes the hiring of personnel, consumables, travel, I don't know, collaborations, patents, so on. And it includes also 25%, up to 25% of indirect costs. And finally, the cost of the upgrading or adequation of facilities and equipment. And this also includes 25% of indirect costs. Okay. What about the evaluation criteria? All Atrae proposals are assessed or evaluated through a peer review evaluation process under standard international standards based on criteria of scientific and technical excellence. The maximum score that a proposal can get is 100 points, but to be eligible to get the aid, the proposal must reach 90 points. This highlights the high quality that is needed in the proposals and the highly competitive nature of the program. The evaluation is met under these two main criteria, the scientific and technological career path of the PI, and also the novelty, quality, and feasibility of the action. And as you can see here, there are two thresholds in these criteria just to ensure that both criteria are met at high quality in each proposal approved. And finally, let me now briefly speak about the main dates of the 2026 call that has been recently approved, so you can see here. And the application submission period is going to be from the 23rd of April to the 4th of June this year, 2026. The draft provisional resolution is expected in December this year, and the final grant award resolution is foreseen in February next year, 2027. The starting date of the projects will be specified in the grant award resolution, right? But we can say, the researchers can know right now, that this starting date will not be earlier than the 1st of April 2027. Okay. On this slide, you can also find a link to the Atrae web. I invite you to have a look at it. And also a link to the contact form where some questions can be addressed. There are questions about the call, questions about the submission process, and things like that. Okay, so to conclude, I want to emphasize that this program represents quite a good and quite unique opportunity for outstanding researchers with international experience to come to Spain under the aid of this competitive funding, of institutional support, and high quality research environment. So, what can I say? We are looking forward to receiving all these ambitious applications and high quality applications in this call. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Barbara, for this very clear presentation, and also encourage people to apply to our Atrae program. So next, we have Elisa Garcia. Elisa is a project officer at the EURAXESS Spain coordination team, And she's going to let us know about the services provided by EURAXESS Spain to facilitate incoming researchers to adapt to the Spanish life. Elisa?
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. It's always a pleasure from an initiative that is focused on centered on human and persons to talk with researchers. So hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to those across the globe who are here for us. So here am I as a coordinator of the National EURAXESS Spanish Network to talk about what can you find, how can you support you if you need more information to decide to come to Spain after hearing these wonderful programs from Europe and to come to Spain, but also if you need more information, how can we provide it to you, and also how can you support you in your journey coming to Spain. So you might heard at the very beginning of this session, talking from the project officer Slaven Milosevic about EURAXESS, also some words, EURAXESS here, EURAXESS there, but what is EURAXESS exactly? So EURAXESS is a pan-European initiative to support international mobility and career development of researchers. It's a national and collaborative European and backed by the European Commission. That it has a long story now. It's 22 years working. That it adapts to European research areas, policies, initiatives, and also to the geopolitical context. Currently, the initiative counts with the participation of more than 43 countries, of course, member states and associated countries, and we have also 9 worldwide hubs, and this is probably the reason why many of you abroad and far away from us here from Spain, you can hear us today. So our mission is to contribute to an open market of researchers. This is how we were born at the beginning, but now, as I said, adapting to geopolitical context and also to the area priorities, we also support the creation of an attractive European research area and also promoting sustainable careers. So how we managed to achieve our mission? So what are our objectives? And now it's when it comes to our vision on our human-centered focus on you, on researchers. So we try to provide you with adequate and relevant information and services for your international mobility and also for your professional development. So maybe now you're thinking, okay, I've heard some research opportunities, but are there more? Where can I find them? So here at EURAXESS, we can provide you with this information. Okay, once you decide, you may be thinking, okay, how am I going? How I bring all my family? Who is going to be there? So we will also support you in your arrival, your onboarding, and your inclusion at your institutions. We also work with institutions to provide you attractive and inclusive environments. But there is more. We just don't want to attract. It's also about sustainable careers. So we provide also with professional development, working very hard and in close relations with institutions for that. So yeah, as I said, maybe you are now thinking, how can I find more information about research opportunities in Spain? And now talking about EURAXESS Spain, and us at FECI, the Spanish Foundation for Science and Technology, of coordinators, we have created an instrument, the career path in Spain at a glance, but also, and now this is the European tool, the EURAXESS Jobs. You will be able to find more positions. So here is the research career path. Here we will find funding opportunities at the European level, national and regional. Some of the ones that you have heard today, the ERCs, grants, the national ones, the Atrae, the Ramon y Cajal, MSCA of the European, and also, but there are much more. There are not only for R2 and R3 levels, so postdoctoral researchers or leadership or researchers at leadership positions, but also covering the whole career stages of your career. There are plenty of information there that maybe you need to decide which one is the best that suits you. So for example, eligibility windows, the duration of the project, or the duration of the programs, and also direct links to the code so you can really read the applications and know if this program or the program will suit you there. There are not only opportunities for you to continue your career in the public systems, so at universities and public research systems, research performing organizations here in Spain, but also funding opportunities to continue your career in the Spanish private sector. Of course, funding schemes, not only the ones directly from human resources that the director of the state agency was talking about, also provide opportunity to continue your career here. So where can you find these positions? Here in the jobs in the EURAXESS job portal, if you select Spain, now currently there are active 531 job offers to be here, to continue your career in Spain. Just to give you a few numbers, last year we published this, there were 10,425 job offers published to continue your careers here in Spain. Mainly those who are offering mainly these positions are research performing organizations, research centers, and also 30% universities. What kind of positions? Positions 30% for PhD candidates. These are R1s, R2, equivalent more or less to postdoctoral positions, around 20% of them, and they're more consolidated positions for leadership at institutions, around 20%. So R3 and R4 levels. Okay, so now with all this information about the opportunities, how can you find information about the research landscape? So what are the institutions? What are the institutions that I can continue my career, so that I'm going to take these fundings and start working there? Or also important questions, what about other types of funding schemes, to fund your own research project? So here, this information, Science in Spain, try to gather all of this information from the Spanish system. So in these sections, apart from the funding opportunity document that we just saw you, the career path in Spain, you will be able to find also information about our ecosystem, the Spanish system, science and technology system. So our universities, research public organizations, and regional public organizations, technological parts, and so on. So then you can understand where you can continue your career. Very important, not only it's about where, the instruments, but also your working conditions, your positions at the system level. This is quite complicated, and in order to plan your career and to understand where you're going to end up and how you're going to be hired, we also provide information about key essential information about, for example, the R3 certification that has already been mentioned, but also how you can accreditate for university positions in case you are thinking of continue your careers at the university. Of course, there is also you will find information here. What are the contracts that they are fixed-term contracts, open-ended contracts, permanent contracts, and how you can access to them. So this is a tool to plan your career and to stay in this country. Okay, this is just the journey. When you pack you decide to pack the luggage and come to Spain. So there is tons of questions about you and those who are coming with families. So we also provide you information on that, practical information about your mobility. So for that, once again, there are dedicated sections of the Spanish EURAXESS national portal. You will find very practical things like how is the health system in Spain working? Every country in the world really works differently. So how is our health system working? Do I need to recognize my PhD title in order to work in Spanish institutions? And also for those who are coming from third countries, you will find information about entry conditions and visas. But information is just something that you don't interact unless there is a chatbot, but there's not yet one there. But information is also is not maybe updated quickly enough for you, and also especially it's not targeted for every single cases. There are very specific cases that need personalized assistance. So this is why EURAXESS network, the jewel of EURAXESS Spain is here for you to support you in your journey. What is this network? It's a network of 118 support centers, geographically distributed through Spain, collaborated and coordinated by FECID, and who are embedded at universities, research centers, innovation agencies mainly. We provide information and personal assistance to your researchers and their families in all of the steps of the way. So we provide information on funding opportunities, of course, always with the guidance of the funding state agencies and the regional agencies. But also, we provide you information on how you will get to Spain. It's not sometimes, like I said, an easy journey, so this is professionals, and we also provide it with training, train the trainers, and build the capacities of these institutions in order to support you. So here you will have a database with all of the centers there. More important, if you are thinking to come to an institution who does not have a EURAXESS center, you can always contact the coordinator or the regional coordinator. Now that I talk with you, I hope you can find EURAXESS a suitable tool for you to plan your journey. And then I encourage you to explore the portal, to connect with your local center or your EURAXESS center, and think of Spain to grow your career. So thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, so now, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So now it's time for questions. Do we have any? Okay, so let's start.
To answer 2 or 3 if you can. So the first one, it involves Atrae and Ramón y Cajal, and it's if you can clarify if there is any incompatibility in applying to both programs in 2026, to Atrae and Ramón y Cajal. Maybe if you can clarify that.
Well, Ramón y Cajal has no incompatibility. It has not been regulated. Okay, if you want to apply to this call, you can't apply to the other one. In Ramón y Cajal. But it has incompatibility with the application in other programs, right? But it's important to analyze the wording of the because I would like to check it. I can confess, I would like to check it, right? But the two programs are not for the same kind of researcher and are not for researchers at the same stage. Ramón y Cajal aims at researchers at the state of R3, and Atrae targets researchers at other stage that are R4. So, although I would like to check how the call has been written exactly, but certainly the researchers that can be funded in one program or the other are not the same. That is unquestionable.
Thank you. Any? Yeah.
There is one more related to the Atrae call, and if you can clarify about the amount of 1,500 euros per year, if that is for personal cost for the PI and the team, if you can clarify that.
Yes, the cost of hiring the researcher is up to 150,000 euros per year. The call also explains that this is the cost of the hiring of the researcher, but it's not the gross salary of the researcher. The call states that the gross salary of the researcher must be above 80,000 euros per year, right? So between 80,000 euros per year for the gross salary and up to 150,000 euros can be taxes, laboral taxes, and some amounts that have to be detracted from these quantities as the general law of the labor contracts. It's labor legislation, I suppose, right? But what is important for the researcher are these 80,000 euros per year, and what is relevant for the host institutions is these 150,000 euros per year.
Okay, and maybe if we can do one more related to Ramón y Cajal. I think it's.
Yes, but before, because there was a, related to the previous question, you had one question here in the room.
Yeah, so you can hear me, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the intervention, very interesting. So I was wondering, as you are now drafting the new changes in the Ramón y Cajal and in other programs, so one thing that I think is important is that all these talent attraction programs or Ramón y Cajal, usually you have two separate budgets, one for the salary, one for hiring people or develop the project. So have you considered that at least that related to the project and hiring people does not stop once you consolidate? Because in the end, this is the final goal of the whole thing, right? And I think it can sometimes, okay, you get promoted, you get the associate professorship, full professor, whatever, and then you have a big issue because you cannot keep the money for hiring the people. Mm-hmm. So just if you are considering to introduce something. I know in Comunidad de Madrid now, they update it.
Sure. The idea is that the project can continue even if you get a permanent position, let's say, in the institution, okay? Even more important, the funding for your salary, since you are not going to spend it because you have already a permanent job in the institution, you can transfer it to the project. So you can increase the money going to the project, okay?
Great.
Atrae program has always been like that.
Yes.
And it's a novelty for the next call of Ramón y Cajal.
So we have more questions? Yep.
Can we take one more?
Sure.
Okay, for the Ramón y Cajal, I think, which, and if is there a scoring grid or any transparent scoring criteria for the evaluation of Ramón y Cajal proposals?
What is the question?
Yeah.
What is the question? Can you repeat it again?
If there is a scoring grid or any transparent scoring criteria for the evaluation of Ramón y Cajal proposals?
We are not in the preliminary phases. Now the Ramón y Cajal criteria is going to be very close to the three main goals related with excellence of the project, related with the impact of the main peer review international goal. And one thing that is going to be important is the interview phases. But in fact, there is not still a clear percentage of what is going to be the weighting of each criteria.
Yeah, let me add that the model, the evaluation process for this new Ramón y Cajal will have two periods in the process. One will be based on the documents provided, okay, and a selected set of the proposals will pass to the interview period, okay, that will come after that. So not everyone will be interviewed, only the ones that they pass a minimum score in the first period. Okay. But still, as Joaquin was said, we are working on the details of all that because the call is not written yet. We are in the process. Okay. Yep. Is there all? Do we have time for one more or no?
It depends. We have a break for 15 minutes until 4.
Yeah, there's
But we don't have coffee, so it's just a break. So
Okay, let's go through a couple of more questions. There is one in the room over there, yes, and then we go again to the people online. Yep.
It's another Ramon y Cajal question. I'm not clear because I'm new to the scheme. Do you have to have a host in place when you apply, or do you get matched with a host through the process of the application?
In Ramon y Cajal, this is different than in Atrae. In Atrae, you had to marry before applying. Okay. In Ramon y Cajal, no, you can be a single, okay, applying and marry later. Okay. This is the current approach in Ramon y Cajal, and has been the current approach for the last 25 years, and we are going to keep it. Okay. You may wonder, okay, how we can keep that important feature, in my opinion, because it gives a lot of flexibility to the program. Now that they are going to make a proposal with a research project behind the proposal, because of course, the research project depends if the institution you are going to carry it out has the facilities you need or not, okay? So how are we going to solve this problem? Because we want to keep the old system. In the proposal, the applicant has to write a section with the details of what are the facilities he or she expects to have in the research centers. This will not be evaluated, okay? This is just for us, for the agency to keep that. And also to provide 1, 2, or 3 examples of research centers that have those facilities in the country, okay? But just for that, for us to know. And we will check that when finally the marriage happens later, okay, the matching, that is consistent with what the applicant wrote at the beginning. This is the way we will solve this issue. Okay. So one more question from the online, and then we stop.
I think there is one question with the Ramon y Cajal and the new orientation to the ERC, and if it's possible to apply for Ramon y Cajal and the ERC for the same call year, and also the incompatibility or the compatibility between having both Ramon y Cajal and ERC at the same time.
It's totally compatible. Okay, that's the question the answer to the last question. About the first, yes, you can apply to both. Okay, and in fact, I mean the incentives to apply that Joaquin explained, okay, are there for people that when they start with the Ramon y Cajal grant, they don't have an ERC grant, okay? But even if we had such a coincidence that you're applying for a Ramon y Cajal grant, and in the midway of the application you get an ERC grant, you can have also some of the benefits that are linked to the incentives, okay? We will give the details of all that when we publish the call. But yes, the answer is they are compatible, of course, okay, and you can apply to both for sure. Yes. So we stop here. Okay, and we will answer the questions remaining, okay, in writing, okay, to all the people online. Just be sure that we will do that, okay? Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
So at 4 o'clock we continue, okay? So we can stretch our legs and a little bit more only. Thank you.
Could you hear me? Okay, so first of all, welcome back to everyone here in the audience and also to the ones that are following us online. First of all, I would like to remind you that you have the Slido QR and also a link at the YouTube channel. So yeah, here it is. Where you can make questions about this roundtable, and we hope we can answer some of them at the end. So first of all, welcome to the panelists.
Thank you very much.
I know the end of the event many times is hard to follow. I don't know if you could hear me well, because I'm struggling a little bit with the microphone. Is it fine? Okay. So I was saying that many times the end of the event, it's a bit hard to follow. So I hope we can manage to make this a little bit interactive. We have now a roundtable discussion, and I will try to go down to real examples of how these the funding schemes that we have previously seen are used and managed. Sorry. Okay, and for that, to go down to these real examples, I have the pleasure to have here with me two researchers that have gotten some of the funding programs that have been mentioned. Is it okay? Okay. Yeah, perfect. So I was saying that we have here two researchers that have been aware with some of the funding programs that have been mentioned before. And also, I have here two directors of the research units at two research institutions here in Spain. So let me first introduce them. I have first, on my left-hand side, Mónica Colominas Aparicio. She is a distinguished researcher at the Institute of Language, Cultures of the Mediterranean and Middle East at the National Research Council in Madrid, and a guest researcher at the University of Groningen. She has developed a distinguished international career at leading research institutions across European but also US institutions. And her return to Spain was made possible through the Atrae program that has been previously mentioned, that allows her to join the Spanish National Research Council, where she is currently the principal investigator of the West of Eden project, a project that critically interrogates the boundaries between Muslim and Jewish in the Western Mediterranean area. So welcome, Mónica. We have here Daniel also. He's a profesor titular, which is something like senior lecturer, at the Universidad Carlos III in Madrid, and where he leads the multi-biostructures lab. And his work combines computational and experimental approaches to address challenges in advanced multifunctional materials and mechanically driven biological processes. Daniel has led several ERC projects, and he currently coordinates an EIC transition project and has received a major recognition, including the National Research Award for Young Researchers. Not enough with this, he actively translates research into technology. Proof of this is the spin-off that Daniel has co-founded. We have as well Jose Maria Saavedra. He is current director of the Research Talent Attraction Office at the Universidad da Coruña. And after academic career in material science, with more than 60 international publications, he moved into the research management and has since held several senior leadership roles. Over the past 2 decades at the Universidad da Coruña, he has played a key role in distinguished institutional programs aimed at strengthening the excellence in research and internationalization. And lastly, we have Ángel Ciprés. He is the current director of the Strategic Scientific Management Unit at the National Center for Biotechnology. He is a senior scientific manager with nearly 30 years of combined experience doing research in leading Spanish and international institutions, and as a research manager of competitive national and international projects. So thank you very much for being here, and welcome to this roundtable discussion. So first of all, I would like to start this conversation by an easy question. but I think a crucial one that is kind of behind all this event of choosing Spain. And the question will be, so I would like you to answer very briefly, why would you consider Spain as a good place to grow your research career? So you can tell me a few words about it. Monica, for instance.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to be able to share my experience. Of course, in my case, it is a kind of natural move because my roots are in Spain, so I've been born in Barcelona, and I lived most of my professional career abroad. I'm talking about 20 years or more. So it was kind of attractive coming here, coming back to my country. But as Barbara mentioned, the centers play a key role in the Atrae project, and is also the other way around. So for me, going to the CSIC, going to the ELC, particularly was very interesting intellectually, but also in terms of developing future lines of of dialogue with other disciplines, because as you know, the institution is very big, but we have these different institutes with different disciplines, and then it makes it kind of almost natural fact to cross paths with other visions, with other disciplines and academic trajectories that enrich your own position and your own expertise too. So, of course, the scheme of Atrae is very attractive too, because of first the possibility of having a team and your own research, so you can really develop your idea. And also with a competitive salary and with the possibility or the compromise of having this permanence in the institution. So,
okay, thank you. So I see the Atrae was a main point for you.
Okay, so I don't want to say the obvious that food and water is great. That is also something to have in mind. But I think here in Spain we find a very good balance between different aspects. First of all, something that it's a clear advantage from my experience is that we have enormous talent around us. And I mean all the students, all the universities we have, all the research centers. That's the first thing. Second thing is that I think there is a great environment here. So for example, when I started the starting grant, I came from computational mechanics and material science, and I wanted to do something on bio, right? So just here in Madrid, without having to travel, I had the connections with CENIC, CENIO, Instituto Cajal. So I think there is a great environment, and also now I'm realizing in terms of spin-off and companies. Third thing is that it's not the same getting 1.5 million here for the starting grant that getting 1.5 million in Sweden, for example. That's something also that sometimes we don't think about it, but it's important. And the fourth thing, we have been discussing about it during the previous roundtables, is like all the compatibility schemes that you have around. That's key. That all these talent attraction fellowships, Ramón y Cajal, etc., is something complementary and that can help you, and not only you, also the people around you. So you can build a team and have many additional funds for the most important thing that are the people that are going to join your team. Mm-hmm. So I think more or less that balance.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank FECIT and the Spanish State Research Agency for organizing this event and also for the kind invitation to participate in this panel. I also agree with many of the points already mentioned by my fellow panelists, but if I had to summarize it in a few words, I would like to say that Spain is a very attractive place to develop our research career because it brings three different key aspects that are not easy to find together. First of all, a strong scientific system that is fully integrated in the European framework. with a strong participation in programs such as Horizon Europe, and also a solid critics mass, as you said before. Second, there is an important element for the most part of the researchers, that is the quality of life. Spain offers a rich culture, and I think this is very important for most part of the researchers from the personal point of view, and this makes it easier not only to come, but also to stay and develop a long-term career. And third, there is a clear evolution in how institutions support researchers. Now there is a much better alignment between national, regional, and institutional policies. Some regions, like Galicia, where I come from, are strongly promoting attracting talent in close collaboration with universities. In parallel, universities have become more professionalized. Now researchers are supported by specialized services that support them throughout all the process. So we combine a living environment, an attractive living environment, a strong, solid system, and also institutions who are supporting researchers in a practical way.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for the invitation to the organizers. And I'm the last one, I won't repeat how good is the system and solid it is. But I would like to say that this is a good place to come if you want to do research, because in my experience, the plan works, which is the important thing at the end. For the last 15 years, I've been working as a research manager, and I provide direct support to many international researchers, including PhD students, postdocs, and also PIs that came to Spain to do research, and most of them, they have had or are having a nice experience. And I think this is an important message, that it is an important decision when you decide to move to another country. And in my experience, people that do that and come to Spain, they are happy. So it's true that in everywhere are difficulties, and the systems are nowadays, I mean, there is a lot of stress in the funding agencies to provide enough funding to conduct the research, and this is not only in Spain, all around. But if you are a talented researcher and you want to come to Spain, you can do it, and you are going to succeed. I think this is the important message, because I believe in first person that this is possible around me.
Thank you very much. I think you are the best examples that indeed, I mean, you have mentioned a lot of benefits that you found to come to Spain to do research. And I would like now to start a journey that someone, to recreate the journey that a researcher that wishes to apply for a funding program will follow. So let's start by the talent attraction part, that we know is not only about funding, but also about good working conditions and a framework. But I would like to invite especially Monica and Daniel to tell us about your experience coming back to Spain with some of the funding programs that have been mentioned, so the audience can also see a real-life example. So Monica, for instance, I'm curious about how did you get the support and information that you needed to get the Atrae, because as we have mentioned, you have gotten the Atrae funding program. And also how you managed to integrate all the support and information that you obtain. And also, you have any suggestion for a future applicant that maybe someone is listening to us right now and is thinking about applying for the Atrae? If you have also any advice.
Okay, thank you very much. The information about the funding, I found it through the internet, to be honest, and then also the whole procedure, and I had already some experience applying. But of course, at the moment I decided, well, I looked around, where could I develop my particular project, and then I start to to have conversations with my institution.
Sorry,
No, no, don't worry. And well, they helped me very much. I mean, giving me, you know, the main indications of how it worked and how to apply. So that was very, very supporting and encouraging from the very beginning. So I had a clear idea what I wanted to do, and if I might give us, you know, a suggestion for those who want to be eligible, I would say to really develop your project thoroughly and with a sense of how do you want to implement it and what do you want to get from it, and also what are the limitations of your project, yeah? Because after all, you have 1 million and you have a team, but in my case, we are 3, so you are also not endless capable of researching everything. So to really dare to speak and to go beyond what you to dare to think about a nice idea, yeah. And I think that Atrae is particularly, and also ERC. Interesting because you are free in developing your project. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Monica, for sharing with us your experience with the Atrae. Also, Daniel, I know you came back to Spain. I was wondering if you could share with us how and also how you get the support to get the funding that brought you back. And also, I know you have been aware with the ERC. You could also tell us a little bit of the support that you get with that funding program.
Yeah, so actually I was thinking now that I want to share not only my experience, but also the experience that has been repeated by some of the postdocs that came to my lab and are following the same path. So what I want to say with that is that it's not only my experience, it's like a strategy that has worked other times. So I actually came with, it was called Talent Attraction Fellowship by Comunidad de Madrid. Now it's called César Nombela. But I think what is great now is we have millions of opportunities. I know in Galicia, in Catalonia, in almost all the different regions in Spain, we have these talent attraction programs. Also have been commented here, Ramón y Cajal, Atrae, even at the institutional level. And this is great, because what it provides you is something, is a position where you can apply to projects. That this is something that sometimes we just think this is the normal situation, but there are many other positions that don't allow you to apply. So if you can, as a postdoc within an ERC project, you cannot apply for your. So I think it's very important to have this in mind and consider this combination. I will need this, plus I will apply for the ERC. Then, something I want to comment on that is that there are like 2 big stages. So the first one is for people that are coming, that we're focused now on that. And I have to say that Spain is great for that, because you have a lot of support. In my case, I have a lot of support from Atrae, from Universidad Carlos III de Madrid, especially Cristina Velasco. That there are some people incredible there that help you a lot. How to write your proposal. Then, well, I have to say I got 3 years that I failed 3 times too. And last year I got a lot of help from FECIT also to prepare the interview. That didn't work for the consolidator, let's see this year. But what I mean is that there are a lot of support that help you. And what I wanted to remark with that is not only when you are coming, because I came, but I follow my path, and now I'm still making use of all of this. So it's not only about attracting, it's also about establishing some tools and consolidating. And super quick last thing about consolidating. It's also important because now I'm helping a lot of people to come here and establish themselves. All this accreditation system, it's also important for the people that are listening to us that they need to understand this and have someone that will support him or her during this process, because I think this is one of the, I will say, everything is great, but this point is probably the one that we should pay attention and help people that are coming here.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm glad to see that you could get the support that you need from, different institutions, also FECIT, so I'm glad. Well, I don't know, Jose, you want to?
Okay, at the University of Coruña, we have created a dedicated unit, the Talent Recruitment Office, which acts as a central hub for all our talent attraction strategy. A key point of our approach is openness. Any researcher interested in develop their career at the UDC is very welcome to contact us. We analyze their profile, we identify finding opportunities, and we help them to prepare the proposals for the calls. In addition, we complement this approach with our own talent attraction programs. We have the InTalent program, developed in collaboration with the private sector in the tech company, and also the BERTE program, which is focused on proposal preparation. We work both with international and national funding programs. For example, ERC grants or Marie Slofowska-Curie, national schemes such as Beatriz Galindo, Ramón y Cajal, or Atrae program. But we also have a strong collaboration with our regional initiatives. In Galicia, we have the Opportunus program focused on the ERC grants, the Galtia Foundation for attracting top-level researchers, and Talentgal, which is a co-found Marie Curie program. The first call of these two programs will be published next month.
Thank you. I'm also glad to see how it's not only, as Daniel was saying, the support that you get, and I'm glad that you have experienced that support when applying, but also once you are established, like to have someone, right, to follow up, also from the institutional part, how you also give support, also with the local ecosystems that you are able. And I would also like Angel to say something, because actually the National Biotechnology Center has a recognition of the Severo Ochoa Excellence Center. And I was wondering how that recognition also helped the capacity of the institution to support researchers. I don't know, you can tell us something about this, maybe?
Sure. So I have to say that the Severo Ochoa, it's not only important, it's a key instrument for the research institutions if you want really to be competitive in the international level. It provides not only, which is the easiest thing, is it provides money, of course, but it's not only money. For me, it's even more important that it provides institutional stability, I would like to say, because if you really want to have a successful application for the Severo Ochoa program, you need to do auto-evaluation, you need to prepare a strategic plan for the next 4 years, and this forces you to think about your future and have a clear pathway ahead of you. And this is something that if you are a talented researcher, you appreciate, because you don't want to go to an institution that are in the middle of, I don't know, whatever problems they have. But if you have a strategy plan and you know where to go, at least as a researcher, you know if your interest fits well with the institutional interest or not, because this is also important. If you want to come to any institution, also in Spain, as a researcher, you need to make sure that you can offer something to the institution, that the institution will offer something to you, and this must be matched somehow. Otherwise, it won't work. And this is much easier if you know where the institution is planning to go. Of course, it provides economic support, and it provides also human resources support. This year, in the last call that is now open with up to 15 PhD fellowships, which is great. And also, of course, it gives international visibility, because all the excellent, all the research institutions that have the Excellence Severo Ochoa Award, they have a very nice visibility, and we participate in this SOMA Alliance with other institutions. We have a lot of collaborations, and we promote collaborations with other institutions that have the same Excellence Award. So I have to say that yes, this is something that puts you in next level, and it helps a lot to be attractive for international researchers.
Well, I think that could be also a clue for the audience that is actually listening to us to maybe search for this also center that has been awarded with the Zero to Excellent. Also, I don't know, you have something to say about who should be applied for the Atrae program. That's in the previous previous presentation. We have listened to, but I don't know, you have any experience in your center or with related to this program, since I think it's taking a lot of attention from the audience.
So I will repeat what perfectly Barbara explained, of course, but I think it's important, I would like to transmit, because we were successful in our last application in Atrae, so we're attracting a very nice international researcher from USA. For me, it's also important to give the message that the host institution must be proactive. I mean, for a researcher that is running a laboratory for the last 8, 10, 15 years, to move to another country is not just another adventure, it's a strategic decision. So it's not the same situation as a postdoc moving to another place. You are moving a whole laboratory, and this is not trivial, and it's a logistic challenge. So don't wait until the call is open to look for candidates, because probably won't work, or it's not easy that it's going to work, because, for instance, for us, we started the conversations way before the call was open. And this is important because many important questions arises, logistic questions, how long it takes until your new laboratory at CMB, in our case, is running again. Because everyone knows that for 6 months, if you move a laboratory, you are going to stop pretty much. But 6 months is something you can manage, but 2 years maybe is too much. So all these aspects are important in an Atrae call, because you are moving a top researcher to your institution. So work ahead. It's important to anticipate as much as possible.
Thank you, Angel, for bringing also the point of view of the host institution and some tips that maybe a host institution could do also to facilitate the Atrae researchers to join the institution. Thank you. So, let's go now to the next step of this trip or journey that a researcher will do. So let's imagine that a researcher has already gotten the funding grant. Then she will start planning the return, the trip to Spain, the incorporation and integration, actually. So in that sense, I would also like to ask you about some practical aspect of this part of the journey in which, okay, you already have the funding, but now the fun part comes, right? And maybe Monica and Daniel, since they have experienced this, could also start by telling us something about it. For instance, Monica, I'm curious about how did you, if you have any practical concerns. By practical concerns, I'm thinking on reallocation, family issues, visa, before moving to Spain, and also what surprised you about the support that you receive. So maybe you can tell us a little bit of your experience.
Well, in my case, I had so much support from my own institution, particularly the direction, but also the secretary, Felix, who has accompanied me the first time of onboarding in almost every detail. So that was very, very good. And I was very much surprised in the positive way, because at least from my personal experience, since I was so long ago far from Spain, there was this difference in how things work in other countries and here, and not always is the same. Of course, in my case, I did not need a visa or that was easier, but for example, I need an electronic certificate. And many of these things you need it before you arrive. In other countries, it's not that case. You can do it once you arrive, and here some things you need to do before. So this could be kind of challenging, since, well, you need to know how to navigate, and certainly in this era of technology where everything is there, but where exactly? So I had many support from my own institution. And certainly finding a house in Madrid, well, we all know what is the situation currently. Maybe these programs can provide a facility that other countries do sometimes, which is providing for a place to stay for a couple of months when you arrive. And then you have the opportunity to explore the city and to see where you can, where you can look for houses, yeah? Well, I finally managed to find some things. So.
I'm glad that at the end it worked out, but I can imagine that, of course, as you mentioned, even before arriving, researchers need support, and I know like the EURAXESS network also helps before the researcher arrives, but even in your case, as you mentioned, you didn't have any visa problems because your nationality is Spanish, but yeah, certainly those aspects are also important, but I'm glad that you received this support that indeed, many Spanish institutions are bringing that support before even arriving. So thanks for sharing your experience. And Daniel, I don't know, how was your arrival to Spain in these practical terms, or what kind of support did you get?
So for the question, mine is a very particular case because I got the starting ground with 27 years old, coming from UK to my hometown, to Madrid, and for me, I was just happy, and there was no issue at all. But I will probably comment on the following step. That this is, once you get it, I think something that this is important for the people coming and getting the ARC is that this is one of the unique schemes, well, as for the Ramón y Cajal, that the grant is given to you, not to the host institution. And that's something that gives you power, in the sense that you can get the grant and move to another university, another center. What I want to say with that is that it gives you the opportunity to find which is the institution who really want to invest on your project. So try to find which is the institution that your project is well aligned with the priorities, with the research lines that they want to boost, right? Because it will help you a lot also. And I'm not talking about salaries, I'm talking about the space, infrastructure, etc.
Thank you, Daniel. This is also a point, like you are suggesting to get married when it's possible before, right? That's, yeah, indeed, every funding scheme has different conditions. So for the audience that is listening to us, I guess this is also an important point. Also in your case, as you have mentioned, was easier since you were coming back to your hometown, but well, thank you. And I don't know, Jose, so I know the University de La Coruña is a EURAXESS center, so I don't know how the EURAXESS services are, how do they work at your institution, and how do they help researchers to integrate once they are at the University de La Coruña, and how early also those researchers could use your EURAXESS services?
Okay, in our experience, EURAXESS play a key role as a first point of contact, especially for international researchers who are not yet familiar with the local system. At UDC, we joined the EURAXESS network as part of our broader talent attraction strategy. And through this service, we try to support them in all the administrative steps. But I think what really makes the difference is how we integrate this service with the whole university. So our EURAXESS contact point works in close collaboration with all the services of our university, especially with the Talent Recruitment Office, and to ensure that this support goes beyond administration. This means making easier the integration of the researchers in our ecosystem. We also support the coming of the researchers with practical tools such as welcome materials, but always in close collaboration with all our stakeholders and with a practical point of view for each case.
Thank you, Jose. Also for pointing out the coordination that an institution, I mean, how beneficial is the coordination of the different units of an institution for a researcher that is arriving. And yeah, as you mentioned, the EURAXESS, to be EURAXESS center also facilitates that the researcher could use the service that you have mentioned, as you say, not only from the point of view of administrative, but also maybe cultural integration, right? Yeah. So thank you. So Angel, last but not least, I was also wondering how your institution or how an institution could support researchers with these practical concerns. I don't know if you can add something to what has been already said.
Yeah, you're right. So a lot of initiatives in different institutions are pretty much the same, and we are not the exception. So through this management unit that we've created, thanks to Severo Ochoa, I have to say, we provide this practical support. Also, I have to say that being a center from SESIC, the Research Council, National Research Council, we have also excellent and great support from the centralized services. Actually, SESIC has this welcoming international talent office that also provides a lot of practical support and has an excellent webpage. If you want to visit, it's easily finding, you can easily find it in Google with all the practical aspects if you want to come to Spain. So I have to say that we have this double support from in-house CMB, but also from SESIC, which is important. More things, I think, just to say something new, we also try to stay in contact with the candidates that are going to join CMB before they join CMB, and we provide support for grant applications, for instance. In this Atrae example that I was explaining, in parallel we were preparing the Atrae submission. We also prepare an ESC advanced submission, which actually is in the interview phase, as with CMB, of course, as a host institution. So this is something that postdoc, especially postdoc, and of course senior researcher will also appreciate, because as I said before, you don't want a big gap between your former laboratory and your new laboratory in Spain. And you can fill that gap if you work in advance, preparing grants, and if you can support that also from your institution before the person is an employee, it's perfect situation. Beyond that, I think we more or less follow the same strategies in trying to attract people.
Thank you, Angel. I think it's also a good point to mention and to let researchers know that once at the institute, the host institutions, they could also get support on applying for other funding schemes, not only through the NCP coordinators that we have mentioned, but also from sometimes the institutions also have those service. And what you have said also make me think on the next step of this journey. So, okay, let's imagine a researcher has gotten the grant. It's already Spain at the institution, but the question will be, what's now? What's next, right? So we know that the arrival and the integration of the researchers is only the first part of the journey, but that working conditions, career development from the research arrival to the research independence, and also the career perspective also need to be considered. So it's an important part of the journey. And I would like to dedicate this last part of the conversation to this long-term career development in Spain. So, for instance, Monica, I would like to know, how do you see long-term career development after the Atrae program that you have got? Or what do you think about the opportunities that exist for progression or leadership?
Okay, well, I have big dreams. I would like to apply for an ERC, or for a synergy grant, but I think more for an ERC, since I see this step with the team as, a very good laboratoire to test some case studies and some ideas, and later on to involve more people into that. So to create this strong line of research connected to my expertise. But I also find particularly important, and certainly now in the times we are living in, the challenge for humanities and the need to transfer knowledge to society. So to keep in touch with, our societal partners and to do outreach activities. I'm very much involved into that. And also to be engaged in the training of younger people. So yesterday I arrived from Berlin. We are with this EU network of doctoral students. And I also see myself, playing an active role into that.
Thank you, Monica. Well, let's see what's happened. I'm sure you will reach many of the dreams that you have in mind now. Also, Daniel, I was also wondering, how do you see your long-term career development after the ERCs, since you have been also aware with this funding, or how you have developed your career after the ERC? So you could explain to the audience.
So I was thinking about it, and let me tell you a little bit of the timeline. Yes. So I got the Talent Attraction Fellowship that was covering my salary. Then there was a great initiative, in this case between Universidad Carlos III de Madrid and Comunidad de Madrid, that were providing like very small project, like I think it was 30 or 60K, for young researchers. I think this is something we need to invest as a country, as Europe, right? So it allowed me to see the idea that was later the ERC. So all this support from the Spanish environment allowed me to get the ERC. Also, what I didn't say is that during the ERC I had a lot of support from different institutions. Now we have your own institution. We have at the regional level, at the national level. There are also some budget that from the ministry they offer you. I think it's 10K or something like that, to help you to do some proof of concept or help with this support. Then during the interviews, now we have a lot of workshops from FECID, Young Academy of Spain. There are many different workshops that help you a lot. Also, something that this is important is that once you get the ERC and any of these talent attraction fellowships, you have the opportunity to get this R3 accreditation, let's call it, that helps you to consolidate yourself and get, in my case, associate professorship. Then also something important is that once you get the ERC, you get access to other funding, as they were mentioning before, ERC proof of concept. Once you get ERC proof of concept, as in my case, and also a lot of support. Actually, I see a lot of faces here that people who help me in all this process, EIC transition. So this is how I developed my career. All these steps were super difficult, but with a lot of support from the institution, from the community, and also from Spain in general. And now next step, well, now I have a lot of illusion with the spin-off, that we are translating the basic science to pharmas, to different labs around the world, and again having all the support from from all these Spanish institutions.
Thank you, Daniel, because I think your example is a great case of how once you are here, you get support from the Spanish environment, how you, after one funding, you get others, and then also that give you, as you mentioned, the idea to the ERC, how you also got support on that. So I think your case is a great example that could also be the case for someone else that is listening to us right now.
Yeah.
So let's also hope that your example could be replicated. So thanks a lot for sharing. So I will now go with Jose. I was wondering also how the Universidad da Coruña support the long-term career development and integration into the academic, but not only, also into the local system. So if you could tell us a little bit how this work in Universidad da Coruña.
Through our previous work on proposal preparation, most of the researchers came to the UDC with a clear project and already connected to the groups they will collaborate with. This allows for a faster and more effective integration. But honestly, this integration is not always easy, but we work to do it easier. In the case of senior researchers attracted by Atrae program or ERC grants, we focus on researchers who can develop their own research line, but also create strong synergies with our teams and with our research centers. They will have the space to grow independently, but also to collaborate with our groups. In these cases, our objective is attraction, integration, and retention. The second step, integration, is so important for us as the first one. And respect to retention, as you asked me, access to a permanent position is also a key element for us. And we try to do it according to the legal requirements for Spanish public institutions. In the case of junior postdoctoral researchers attracted by postdoctoral Marie-Curie actions, our goal is to open new possibilities for their future career. We try also to integrate them into the university, but also in our whole environment, including the private sector. And we try to do it with secondments, TTO events with local companies, or specific activities of our projects. The idea is to help them to complete their postdoctoral stage and move to the next step of their careers.
Thank you, Jose. You have mentioned the integration and retention and how this is important points that your institution is taking into account, so thank you. So, Angel, in the case of the CBN, so I was wondering... CMB, sorry. True. I was wondering how you could also support researchers on this transition between the arrival and the research independence, or what career development opportunities does the CBN has?
Okay, well, I have somehow similar answers as it was already said, but again, I have to say that from CMB, we highly benefit from also CSIC support for the development of the scientific careers of the researchers. For instance, speaking about grants, CSIC that has this pro-ERC and the recent created pro-EIC programs that supports the researchers in order to prepare successful proposals. So there's strong proposals, and this is important support that they have because they come to CMB. In-house in the CMB, we try to provide like comprehensive support. I think a scientific career is not only publications, it's not only experiments, but we also are committed to provide a good training. And good training in different phases, because training for a PhD student is not the same training that a postdoc or even a PI needs. So we have specific, for instance, PhD committee, postdoc committee that has a lot of autonomy to organize workshops, info days, courses that they are interested in, soft skills. This type of training we promote from CMB this type of training because we think it helps a lot in the progression of the professional careers. Also, as an institution, we want also to be strategically positioned in the good place. I mean, we are speaking about ERC and all these grants, but we know that for the next European work program, a lot of money is going to be in the innovation part of the science. It's not easy to move from the laboratory from basic projects to innovation projects. These need to be planned ahead. So as an institution, we are actively thinking about how to prepare the center to be ready to successfully apply to these innovation projects and how to help our researchers in doing so, because for sure it's going to be helpful for them for the future.
Thank you, Angel. You have mentioned training programs. You have also mentioned how the institution can plan ahead a potential integration with the private sector and also how you support researchers to apply for other funding. So I think you have plenty of mechanisms and to support researchers on the long term, not only at the arrival. Well, so thank you so much for sharing with us. And I would like now to give a space to some questions, either here at the room or I don't know if there is any questions online. My colleague Julio is in charge of the questions that are the online audience, so I don't know.
We have some online, so...
Yes, or okay. Also here in the room? Okay. I don't know.
Okay, thank you very much. I would really like to ask you about your opinion into the new, well, not new, but European movement into the research security, especially in this kind of research in which, as Daniel said, the grantee has all the power. So what is your point of view? Is it going to affect in what terms, or are you aware of all this, on this?
I think someone in the room can... I don't know if you want to take the question. Do you want to take it? Okay.
I didn't understand fully, so
okay, yeah.
Thanks a lot.
This has. I'm afraid this has to do with the current situation in the world. It is quite complex, and that poses some challenges also in terms of talent attraction. But we have to make it compatible. We have to work to make a system that it is open to talent and at the same time analyzes and can bring some mitigation measures to avoid foreign interference on research and on our research institutions. And also to these measures that we have to bring into the systems, they have to protect research freedom. So this has more to do with preserving research freedom and autonomy of institutions than to close the systems. So anything that we can that we have to think about has to have these two paramount criteria underlining it. I don't know if I understand your question. I answer your question. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the question. I don't know if we have time for maximum one, or otherwise we can close the roundtable here. I don't know, Julio, what do you think? Okay, if no one else have questions, I would like to thank you for being here and invite you to go back to your seats. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we are almost reaching the end of the event. And it is an honor to welcome to Juan Cruz Figueroa, the Secretary of the State for Science, Innovation and Universities. So thank you.
First of all, thank you for all the attendees that we have, both in person and online. I hope the whole event has been fruitful. I know that the issues that you have addressed are very, very interesting, and mostly they are very illuminating for the future. Actually, the success of this event reflects something that is real. Spain is more and more perceived as an attractive destination for science and innovation. And this has been so since 2018, and today's audience is a proof of we are doing the right thing to do. In recent years, you were probably aware that Europe and Spain has been strengthening their position as region of stability, excellence, and academic freedom. The significant increase in applications to programs such as the Maria Slobodowska-Curie Action and the growing numbers of researcher permits, residence permits that we have in Spain, today more than 6,000, show that researchers continue to choose Europe and that Spain has become a key destination within this ecosystem. This is why actually we welcome the Choose Europe initiative that was launched last year by the European Commission. And within this context, Spain also took the initiative by creating its own Choose Spain program, because Spain is a pro-science country open to talent wherever it comes from. Over the last 8 years, we have worked to build a stronger and more competitive research and innovation ecosystem. We have reformed the two main laws governing the sector, first the Science Act and then the University System Act, to create a more predictable, robust funding framework and a more stable and predictable scientific career path. We have also increased our R&D&I resources by a form that has no precedent in our late history. A significant proportion of this has been thanks to our commitment of the R&D and innovation through Next Generation funds, but not only. We have also increased national resources to the system with an annual increase of 20% since 2021. As a result, Spain now has a stronger instrument to attract, integrate, and retain talent at every stage of the research career. I will provide some examples of this. The Atrae program that was created to attract leading researchers to Spain is one of the examples. These programs, since 2023, has allowed to more than 100 researchers have stabilized the groups here, supported by up to 1 million euros in funding. In the most recent call, the one from last year, 57% of those selected people, investigators and scientists, were based previously in the United States, and 80% were international researchers. As it has been previously announced, in the coming days we will launch the new Atrae call, allocating again 40 million euros to attract to another 40 established researchers. The second example, the Ramon y Cajal program is our flagship instrument for postdoctoral researchers with promising careers. We have increased the number of positions from this program from 200 in 2018 to 500 in 2025, and raised the minimum salary that this person will enjoy by 22%. In 2026, Ramon y Cajal Fellows will have some change in their careers, in their development of their activities, because they will have guaranteed project funding through the 5 years contract. Also, it will produce an automatic R&D recognition for the people that actually get this contract. Within, again, this context, the share of international recipients is steadily growing. We have now more than 30% of people that are coming from outside. In addition to that, we support via FECIT the Spain's strong participation in Marie Curie's and ERC. We seek more success rate in this. We expect a better rate in the next coming years. Nevertheless, attracting talent is not only about funding. It also requires reducing administrative barriers, streamlining visa and residence permit procedures, improving the recognition of qualifications, and providing a clear and consistent information for researchers. The Choose Spain initiative addresses these challenges through 5 strategic paths: qualification recognition, permits and visas, data, communication, and funding. Within, again, this context and ecosystem, EURAXESS Spain, that is coordinated by FECIT, is a key operational tool for turning strategy into concrete outcomes. It provides international visibility, a network of mobility experts, arrival and integration services, and a platform for sharing best practice among institutions. Welcome centers are often a research first point of contact with the host country, and they play a decisive role in the success of talent attraction. Our national contact points, a network of highly specialized professionals, are also available to advise researchers applying to ERC and Marie Curie Skłodowska calls. Talent attraction is a collective endeavor. It involves public administrations, universities, research organizations, regional governments, and private sector. Researcher mobility is also intersectorial. Its impact extends well beyond academia, fostering innovation, knowledge transfer, skill employment, and social well-being. Spain moves forward when capacities are aligned and strategies are coordinated at every level, something that is already and currently happening in our country. Spain does not only aim to attract talent, it aims to be a place where talent can grow, stay, circulate, and contribute. Events like today's send a clear message. Spain is really and truly committed to science and to the people who make knowledge possible. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you have enjoyed the journey. Thank you. I think we can consider the event closed. Thank you again. Okay, see you.